Hey Mike, how you doing today, man? You're about 6, 7 years old right now. You think you're going through a lot, and life, life is weird. But this is a version of you, 29 years in the future. Um, you've seen a lot. You've done a lot. You've cried a lot. You've yelled a lot. You've doubted yourself a lot. There's a lot of things that are going through your head right now. There are a lot of things, middle school that you went through that were hard at the time. A lot of things in high school that you went through, very hard at the time. A lot of things in college that you went through, extremely hard. All the years of college. And, I know. You want to be a neurosurgeon, bro. I know you. You want to be a neurosurgeon. That's the side of people that's the side that you show people. But I'm you. I know the side that you don't show people. I know the side that fights depression. Never been diagnosed, but there's sometimes you've been extremely depressed. Times you've been extremely sad. Times you've been extremely mad. Times you just I don't know. There are times, because again, I'm you. I know you. That you don't talk. You don't talk because you're sad. You don't talk because you're depressed. It's okay. It sucks. It's hard. It gets better. You know, there are times you're like, hey, I want to be a neurosurgeon because again, we know, granddad died. We know that's one of the reasons why you wanted to be a neurosurgeon. That's the side you tell people. I'm you. The side you don't tell people is that as you get older, you're like, yeah, I want to keep being a neurosurgeon. I want to keep being a neurosurgeon. I want to keep being a neurosurgeon. But one of the reasons why you keep that up is because you want to feel important. Because there are plenty of times from then to now that you don't feel like you're important. You don't feel like you matter to people. And it sucks. It's extremely hard. You're just like, I just want to feel important. You want to have your name in lights. You want to be the guy. You want to be the most important person because you're sad, because you're depressed. Again, because you want to feel like you matter to people. And, bro, I get it. Again, I'm you. I'm the future version that has found the words to express. And it's hard. It takes a long time to know how to use your words properly. A long time just to feel like it's safe to be you. Because again, you're finding things out. You're going to elementary schools, interesting. Middle schools, kind of interesting. Again, there are a lot of crushes that you have, but you're the fat kid. You're the asthmatic kid. And you're like, because you're fat and asthmatic and you can't do the things that you want to do, it gets to you. It gets hard. And you get really sad. It's tough. You start gaining weight because it's puberty. Things happen. Like 10, 11, you're going to gain weight, dude. I'm gonna tell you up front. You're gonna gain some weight. But the thing that really gets you is that you didn't realize it, but you develop something that's called gyno. You're like, because again, you thought that you're okay, but then when you find out that you're different, it makes the depression worse. And it gets hard. You battle with it for extremely long time. It sucks. You're about 10. go to the doctor and they're like, hey, you have to have surgery to get rid of this. You're like, what? So you start exercising a lot. A lot. When you're in fifth grade, you start exercising. And you're like, hey, I want to join the basketball team. I want to join the football team. There wasn't a football team, but you were like, hey, I want to play football. I want to play soccer. I want to play volleyball. I want to play baseball. And you enjoy sports, which is awesome. But another reason why you join the sports is so you can get rid of the gyno. I know you. And it sucks. It's hard. And you work out so hard for so many years to prove these doctors wrong that, hey, I can get rid of this, I can get rid of this. And unfortunately, you can't. And it's hard. And it sucks. You go through elementary school, middle school, and you're starting to enjoy yourself. You're starting to make some friends, but you're still kind of shy. And it's okay. It's okay to be shy. But it's okay to talk to people too. It's okay to talk to people, dude. It's okay. It's okay. I know it gets kind of scary. I know it gets kind of weird. But it's okay to talk to people. You try, every now and then you try to talk to dad. But it's like, it gets kind of, because you're like, you're not sure. At this time, you're not sure, like, what to say, how to say it, because you don't know the words. It's okay. You find the words later. And the funny thing is that later on, you have this very deep conversation with dad. And it gets really, really interesting because he tells you stuff that you didn't know. And it's like, huh. And he tells you stuff that he went through that you had no clue about. Because dad gets pretty good at hiding things. Dad gets pretty good at hiding things. But there are things that you didn't know. But you're like, you know what? I still want to be a neurosurgeon. Because you want to be important, but also, you want the little kids to lose your grandparents like you did. And school gets tough. You start struggling with math. In middle school, in elementary school, middle school, you start struggling with math. And it gets very, very, it gets rough. But you don't know who's praying for you. You don't find out who's praying for you until a very, very, very long time from now. Unfortunately. Fortunately, but unfortunately. Because it kind of throws you off guard. But there are people who are praying for you. People who want the best for you. Trust me. Trust me. You get to middle school, you get to high school. You go from private school to public school. It's a big change. Dude, it's a big change. You're going from a private elementary school to a public high school. Class has 30 in it. School has 3,000 in it. It's a big change. You don't know what to expect from it because first time in public school. But you're like, you meet some cool people. And some of them you still keep kind of contact with, even years down the line. Some kind of just fall off to the wayside. But the thing that doesn't stop is that you keep playing basketball because you enjoy basketball. It's fun. And the interesting thing about it is that basketball goes from a way of trying to prove doctors wrong to something that you actually enjoy, that you really, really enjoy. Are you the best at it? No. You're definitely not the best at it. But you try your hardest. And you enjoy it. And that's what matters the most. I know you want to be the best. You want to be the best. You want to be like all your friends that were in middle school that you look up to them. Because they're in middle school, we met a lot of good basketball players. Actually, Thomas, you find out he's actually your cousin. It's pretty cool. Thomas is a really good basketball player. Alan's a really good basketball player. JC's a really good basketball player. Dre and Jerome, insane. Again, they're your best friends from even now. And the crazy thing is that even goes beyond like now. You still keep in contact with them every now and then, not as much as you should, because things happen. I'll talk about it a little later, but things happen. But you're like, I want to be like them. You want to be like Josh. You want to be like those good basketball players. And you meet some good basketball players in high school, and you're like, man, I know some dudes that I used to grow up with that beat you guys. But you met some good ball players. So it's tough competition, bro. You keep playing. You keep trying to study. But math is hard. Math is tough. Keep pushing. Keep pushing as hard as you can. Keep pushing, bro. It's hard. It's gonna suck. And the interesting thing is that, you're trying your best. You're trying your best, and then Matthew, because again, at this time, Matthew moved in with us. He's living with us because he actually moved in with us. When we were at OJ in middle school, he moved in with us, and then he starts doing martial arts. And Dad's like, "Hey, Matthew, why don't you invite Michael?" And then, again, you're still fighting the asthma. You're still fighting, the excess weight because you're a big kid. You're a fat kid. I'm not. You're a big kid, dude. You're still fighting the depression from the gyno. I know. I'm you. And you're like, I'm not sure if I can. And Matthew's like, oh, Michael's not gonna like it. It's too hard for him. But you're like, oh, it's too hard for me. Okay, let's see what we have. So you join martial arts. You join Kung Fu. It's fun. You enjoy it. You really enjoy it. Matthew tests for a belt. You're like, that's pretty cool. And then you're like, if Matthew can test for a belt, I can test for a belt. Why can't I test for a belt? And you go up to Sifu. And you're like, Sifu, I'm ready to test for my belt. He's like, okay, show me this. And he humbles you. And you freeze. You're like, oh. He's like, that's why you're not ready yet. You'll be ready when you're ready. It's okay. And you get humbled. And it's like, and it hits your ego. It's a blow to your ego. Which like, oh man. And then money gets a little funny. We're not gonna lie, money gets a little funny, and and we have to stop. You're in high school, so you're still pushing. You're still pushing high school, but school gets tough. You join the CNA program in school. You're enjoying it. You're meeting a lot of cool people. Some you still in contact with a little bit, which is pretty cool. But it gets tough. You graduate from the CNA program, and it's really interesting how it happens because you finish the CNA program. It's like, I forget how long, but then you pass the CNA boards, and then you go from that to graduating, and then 2 weeks after you graduate, you're working in a hospital, dude. It's pretty cool. It's like, wow, you did that, dude. You did that. And you start talking to other people about it and everything like that, and you're like, man. And all you can do is pray. And like, hey God, thank you. I appreciate it. And you're working, and you start working in a hospital when you're 18, which is unheard of. And you start talking to people like, yeah, I want to be a neurosurgeon. And it's like, people like, that's really cool. We're proud of you. Do it. You can do this thing, man. And again, you want to be a neurosurgeon because this is something you've always wanted to do. But you're still fighting that depression too, which is another reason why you want to be a neurosurgeon. That's the side that you don't tell people. But I know you. I'm you. You're doing these classes. College algebra. Math. You struggle. You don't pass it. The next semester, you take it. You finally pass it with like a C. But hey, you passed it. You passed it, dude. You passed it. That's what matters, right? Hey, I passed my college algebra class. Cool. And then you meet pre-cal and trig. matter what you do, you can't pass those classes. You take pre-cal 3 times. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And no matter what you do, you can't pass it. Staying up late, staying in class, you're trying all these study tips. You get so stressed out. Your nose starts. This may be a little graphic, but your nose starts running, dude. You have to go to class with pockets full of tissue just to make it through class. And you're like, am I allergic to math? What's going on? And you're like, hey, maybe I need to go to a different teacher. So you go, and then maybe you need to take something else. Because you need trig and stats, which is tough. You need trig and stats. And you're like, I'm not sure how to do this. So you go trig, you're like, I didn't pass this class, and you go back to stats. Trig, and then you go pre-cal. Trig, can't pass it. It's like, hey, maybe I just need a break. You go back to trig. You go back to pre-cal. It doesn't work. You go back to trig. It doesn't work. You switch teachers, because there's only 2 teachers. You switch teachers. You go back to pre-cal. You can't pass it. You go back to trig. Unfortunately, you never pass it. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And the thing that sucks is that when here, the depression gets really hard. It gets really, really hard. Because you're like, the goal I've always wanted, I'm never going to be able to get it. It's really hard. It's really hard. And then, you start talking to dad. It's like, hey, dad, like, I'm not able to pass this class and this and this. He's like, you know what? You've always been interested in sports. So you like any sports-related classes. I'm like, okay, cool. You find this athletic training class. And you do really good in it. Like, really, really good. You do like the taping and everything. It gets really fun, dude. It gets really fun. And you're like, hey, I passed this, and I have as much trouble as I did with these other classes. Maybe I'm supposed to go this route. And the thing that's interesting, that stuff at this time too, is that you have to do like biology and chemistry, no, just in general stuff. You struggle in chemistry. Bad. This is general chemistry. General chemistry 1, you struggle. You don't pass. General chemistry 2. You finally passed it in like I think the second time we passed it. I think the second time we passed it, dude. Gen Chem, like Chem 2. Same thing. You try taking math classes. You try to take you don't pass it the first time. The second time you finally pass it. Barely. It's hard. Biology. First time. You fail. Not almost, you fail, bro. And it's hard. The thing that's hard about the class, well, the class was hard. The thing that makes it harder is these are some of the core classes that you need to go to med school, which makes it even harder. And the depression gets real. It sucks. It really sucks. And there are times where you're like, you know what? I just don't want to talk right now. And you stop talking for a little bit. It sucks. It gets better though. But it sucks. There are times where you're like, I want to be awake right now. It sucks. you start going to bed a little earlier sometimes. You don't hurt yourself though. That's a good thing. We don't hurt ourselves. But there are times you go to bed early because you don't want to be awake. It sucks. And it's like all things you try to do doesn't work. No matter what you try, doesn't work. The depression is real. But you don't give up. And you start, you do good at UCF. You do good. Dude, you get on the dean's list, which is pretty crazy to think about. You get on the dean's list, bro. All the trouble we had in school, you get on the dean's list. It's like, wow. That's pretty cool. That's really cool, dude. It's really cool. You graduate, it's like, hey, but you're like, you try to find a job, and you realize, because you graduate, exercise science, like, hey, I can start training people and everything. I like to work out, making train people to work out like I do. And then you realize all the places that you go to, you have to like sell programs. Like, why do I want to sell a program? I'm not a salesman. Why do I want to sell a program? And every place you go to, it's based off of commission. But you're like, I just want to help people. I don't want to sell anything. I just want to help people out. So you're still working as a CNA this time. And you're like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But the thing that's interesting is that while you're at UCF, you actually get to do some shadowing. So you actually, get to shadow the rehab crew at the hospital. You enjoy it. And while you're struggling finding these personal training jobs, Corey's like, hey, why don't you be our rehab tech? I'm like, okay, sure, I don't know what that means, but sure, I'll try it out. So you join the rehab crew. And that's where you fit in. It's cool. People are awesome. People there to support you, to push you, to lift you up. It's a great time, bro. It's great. You learn a lot. You get to mingle with a lot of people. You're just training. You're with them for a really long time, actually. A really long time. It's actually pretty cool. You're with them like 6 years. It's like, what? 6 years? You're with them for a long time, bro. And then, with the rehab crew, you're like, you know what? Maybe I want to go into therapy. No, you're talking to mom. I'm like, hey, mom, I'm thinking about this. She's like, you'll be a trash nurse. she's trying to say, she's like, you'll be a horrible nurse. Because of how much time you spend getting, you're slow. I ain't even gonna front. Whenever you're a CNA, you were slow. Because you wanted to make sure that everything was just as you were slow. And unfortunately, that's not what you can do in nursing. So, but mom's like, you know what? Therapy will be good for you. So you apply for therapy and everything like that. You have a good time. Wait. So, you join the rehab crew. You're learning a lot. You're doing a lot of things. Lisa's awesome. Corey is awesome. Drew's awesome. Alyssa's awesome. The whole crew, Daniela, the speech therapist. Everyone's so cool. You learn so much from everybody. And you like, I fit in here. So you're like, hey, I can't go to med school because of these classes. Maybe I can go this route. So you start looking at the different prereqs, for physical therapy assistant, for occupational therapy assistant, for PT, for OT. Start looking at different prereqs. Math. Science classes. So you're like, man, well, I guess I'm never gonna be a PT. So, like, hey, you know what? Which one do I need the least amount of prereqs for? OT, huh? Maybe it can be an OT. PTA, maybe no PTA. They're both great fields. Let's try these out. So you're looking into them, and you're like, okay, cool. You're doing the prereqs, you're knocking them out, and it's like, hey, I can apply for both of them, which is really cool. You can apply for both programs, dude. How's that? Because just because of the classes, so you get to apply for OT school, which is occupational therapy, and physical therapy assistant, which is really, really cool. And while you're doing this, you start doing pretty good in martial arts. You're meeting a lot of people. You start teaching things. You're like an assistant teacher. It gets really cool. Because now you're working now, so you can actually pay for things now. So it's really cool. You get to use your big boy money now. It's really cool. And you start doing pretty good. And you're like, hey, I want to start competing, but you can't compete because Sabbath, which is okay, But it's something that you kind of like think about a little bit. But you do pretty good, and you do 2 martial arts at one time, 2 different things at one time. How's that? You get to do the kung fu stuff, which you always see on TV, because you start watching Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and Dragon Ball Z and all these different things, and then you get to do like what's called the softer stuff, Tai Chi, which is you're like, what's this? I don't know what this is, but you start to enjoy it. I think it's pretty cool. And you start to get pretty good. I'll show you later. And then you start working out. You start lifting weights again. Start losing a little weight because you're still a big kid in middle school. I'm gonna tell you the truth. You're a big kid in middle school. In high school, you're a pretty big kid. You're kids that were bigger than you muscle wise, but unfortunately, you're the big kid the other way, which kind of stinks. But you still start doing pretty good. One thing I will say is, this thing's gonna sound weird, but take more pictures, dude. Take more pictures. Because on this side, you start looking back and you're like, you don't have a lot of pictures of yourself whenever you're younger. It just kind of hits you randomly at times. It's like, oh. But I know why. It's a depression. Because depression is real. And you don't like yourself. Which gets really hard. You start to not like yourself. Which is really, really hard. Because you feel like you're a failure. You feel like all the things you wanted to do, you can't do. The asthma stops you from running, so you can't play sports. The grades aren't good, so you can't go to medical school. It gets tough. But you still keep pushing. You still keep pushing, dude. You apply for a PTA and OT school. You get the first. Actually, you apply for PTA school first, and you don't get in. So you go, and this is the first time you actually meet Dr. Miller, who he stays in your life for a very, very long time. I'll tell you about that later on. He's like, hey, I want you to do this, do this, do this. Okay, cool. The next year, you're applying for OT school and PTA school, and you're on the wait list for OT school. You're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. You don't hear from PTA school yet, but you're on the wait list. And a little bit, like a week or so later, you get into occupational therapy school, dude. You get into a master's degree program, which is really, really cool. It's like, what? I didn't think I'll be able to do this, and that's pretty cool, because whenever you're in high school, you don't understand that they're high degrees, but you don't know what the order is or anything like that. And I'll tell you right now, master's degree is the second highest degree. So it goes associates, bachelor's, master's, and then doctorate. Which is like, oh, I want to be a medical doctor, but you don't know the order of things. But you just know I want to be a brain doctor, so other little kids don't have to lose their grandparents. That's the only thing that you know. And you get to a master's degree program, which is like pretty cool. And you get in there, and you struggle bad. The first semester, you have like 7 classes. You barely pass 2 of them. The second semester, you have to redo all the classes. Well, I see your classmates like going to do this and this. You have to redo all your classes, dude. And it gets to a point because you're talking to your teachers like, hey, so you start staying at school, going to school on the weekends, staying at school a little bit later, all these different things. You get a tutor, all these different things, and nothing works. No matter what you do, nothing works. And the thing that's interesting, because this is the first time we ever took out a loan, which is a pretty good record, I can say, because a lot of people take out loans earlier, but this is the first time you actually had to take out a loan, like a student loan, because you have your car, you have your Darla, you have your car, but this is the first time you take out a student loan, and you get really scared because you don't know how student loans work, because you see the amount that school costs, you know that you have student loans, you're like, how is this going to work? And you stop eating. No, not completely stop eating, but you stop eating quite a bit because you get so paranoid about how to pay for school. People start thinking that you're sick, dude. You lose a lot of weight. A lot of weight. People start asking mom, because mom still works at the hospital. People start asking mom, is Michael okay? It gets bad, dude. You're still eating, but you're not eating like you used to. You're not eating as much. You make a can of beans last about 6 days. You would have a peanut butter sandwich and just a couple of pretzels because you were afraid of how to pay for school. You pretty much stop eating, which gets you don't realize it because you're trying to study, but other people around you notice it. They get really concerned for you, dude. And while you're going through this, you're studying as hard as you can. You're studying, and things don't stick. To the point where you talk to your teachers, like 3 of your teachers, and your guidance counselor, and they say, Mike, you have 2 choices. Withdraw from the program or fail out. Those are literally your only choices you have. Because that's how bad your grades are. It gets bad. And the depression starts again. Thankfully, they tell you this around Thanksgiving break. So everyone's getting going away for Thanksgiving. And you go away for Thanksgiving too. You just don't go back to school. Because you had no choice. You couldn't pass. And you move back home with mom and dad, which is cool. Of course they miss you. But the depression gets real. It gets bad. It gets real bad. To a point, because remember when I said that you stop talking for a little bit and you go to bed earlier because you don't want to be awake? You stop looking in the mirror, dude. You stop looking at yourself in the mirror because of how bad the depression gets. You don't hurt yourself, which is a good thing. But you don't talk to anybody about this stuff. You have one thing I will say, you have a good poker face. You have a very good poker face. That's what you think. But I'm pretty sure other people know. They know something's wrong, but they don't know all what's wrong. But the depression gets bad. It gets bad. It's like, you legit stop looking at yourself in the mirror. Like, you see your silhouette, but you don't see any details. You don't see your nose, your eyes, your mouth, your ears. You see a silhouette. It gets dark. It's kind of dark, dude. It sucks. But you have good people in your corner. You have good people that love you. You have good people that pray for you. Whether you know it or not. No, you have some people that you think, oh, maybe they'll say something. But there are people in your corner that you don't even know are in your corner. And there are people that are in your corner that you probably don't even know for years later on that are in your corner. Because I don't even know. There are things I'm just finding out like this week, dude. It's like, what? But it gets bad. It gets very, very dark. But you still have your job at the hospital. And Corey, no, he has your back. Corey has your back. He always has your back. He always will have your back. He's like, hey, so what can we do? So what can we do to help you out? He's like, don't make me put the size 14 up your butt, which you'll never forget. And then he's like, I've been tested for a learning disability. I'm like, no. He's like, hey. So that's one thing that we were trying to work on, like getting tested for a learning disability. All this time, because there's something that's still deep inside of you that still yells. It's like, I have to keep going. And that flame gets very, very low sometimes. But it never dies. It's still there. It never goes out. And you reach out to Dr. Miller again. And you tell him exactly what happens. You say, hey, Doc, I got into the OT program right before I got into the PTA program. You tell him that part. No, whatever. Because you actually get accepted the second time you apply. You actually get accepted into the PTA program the second time you apply. But yeah, tell the doctor, like, hey, I got into OT school. He's like, hey, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. All the things. But you had to say, hey, I didn't do good. What can I do to get into your program next year? And then he reaches out to you. He says, do this, do this, do this. Okay. And you start doing this, and this. It's like, cool. I'm doing the thing. You get tested for a learning disability. You find out you have test anxiety. So you're not allergic to math. You just have really bad test anxiety. To the point that you're having almost like an allergic-like reaction. Which is crazy, because you didn't find this out until you're 27, dude. 27. You've been struggling in math for all these years. You didn't find out it was test anxiety until this. And I'll let you know right now, math doesn't get easier. But you find out that it's test anxiety. You get into PTA school. First semester starts going okay. And then you meet your Owens. That's it. That's just I call them. You call them your Owens. Your origin insertions, activation, and like pretty much how the muscles work. And you struggle. You struggle bad. To the point where Dr. Miller pulls you into a conference room and says, Mike, you're not doing good at all. At all. But this is a turning point. He says, what can we do to help you out? Not what can you do. What can we do? Because he wants you to pass. Like, all the teachers at someone wants you to pass. Dr. Miller, Dr. Brickley, Dr. E, Mr. D, Mr. Lambert, they want you to pass, dude. They all have your back. So you do something that for you is kind of extreme. You're like, okay, I'm going to stop working out. I'm going to stop working out. I'm going to stop playing video games. I'm going to stop watching TV. I'm just going to study. And study. And study. And study. To the point that Dr. Miller was like, you're going to stop working out? And he knows, because we talk about it, he knows how much I work out. He's like, you're actually going to stop working? I'm like, I have no choice, Doc. And you study. And you study. During class, whenever everyone's going for break, you're writing your notes. You're writing your notes. Writing origin, insertion, activation, for every muscle. Every muscle. Probably go through 2 packs, like a pack and a half or 2 packs of paper, just writing these down. Every day, during class, after class, you're writing every muscle, every organ, every activation, every insertion, every nerve, every muscle. Papers, papers, on papers. You have a notebook just for your hormones, dude. And you know what's crazy? You're still struggling a little bit. You're doing your best. You're still struggling. But the thing that's crazy, on the final exam, Dr. Miller says, you need this to pass. You got literally to the point 10. You got to the 10th decimal point of what you needed. Literally the exact grade. Like, I forgot the number. It was like, if you need like a 79.15, you legit get a 79.15 on that. And one of the happiest moments of your life, you go up to Dr. Miller, you shake his hand, he says, I'll see you next semester. And why that's so cool? Because all the stuff you went through with OT, no matter what you did, you couldn't pass. And you get literally like the 100th decimal point which you needed to pass. To the point that you can shake his hand and say, we'll see you next semester. You go in the car, you start crying. You start crying. Because you're just that happy. And then, ever since that day, there are 2 songs that get stuck in your head. It's the song from Hercules, Go the Distance. And the song from Marvin Sapp, Never Would Have Made It. And each time you think about those songs, they get to you. Every single time. Because, without God, you wouldn't pass school. I mean, if you didn't have a little bit of faith, you probably wouldn't be sitting here, literally. Because it gets dark. And you just don't tell people about it. Because you don't want to burden people. You want to stress people out. But it gets dark. And there are times you still don't like yourself. No, years. But you pass first semester. Second semester, dude, you get on the dean's list again. Because your grades shoot up. Third semester, again, you get on the dean's list, dude. It's like, what? But fourth semester, Dr. E pulls your side and says, Mike. I'm like, oh no. You're not doing good. Take it. The depression starts again. But you're stubborn, bro. You're too stubborn to stop. So you're studying and studying and studying. And then, thank goodness, whether they saw me studying where God told these ladies to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, go ask Mike if he needs help. Whatever reason, however happens, you find like 6 angels to help you pass. And I am forever, you are forever indebted to them. You pass 4th semester. 5th semester, you're like, hey, when can we study? When can we study? Because you're this close. You're like, you're close, dude. You start studying with them 5th semester. But the thing that gets you, because you're scared. You're extremely scared. Because the end of the 1st semester, everyone's like, hey, let's take pictures. We finished 1st semester. But you're scared. You want to take those pictures 1st semester. Because you're like, what if I don't pass? You get scared. There's 3 other guys in your class. One of the things that we said was 4 in, 4 out. But you're scared. Because you want to disappoint people. And you're like, I'm going to disappoint these people. And get scared. But the thing that's interesting, every semester, you take a picture. But you don't post it. You don't post on social media. You don't tell anybody. Every semester, take a picture. And you're like, no, like this done. PTA degree loading this percent. Every semester. After every clinical, take a picture. Every semester, take a picture. And then graduation comes. And you graduate PTA school, dude. Which is really cool. And you take that final picture. You're like, PTA school completed. 100% download complete. So that's pretty cool. And then you have to say for boards. Thankfully, these angels know y'all get together, have a study plan, know how long you're going to study. We do the law test first, the exam first. So you write everything down. And you pass the law exam, which is interesting. But the big boy comes. That PTA exam. And you pass it the first time. I don't think I've ever screamed. I don't think I've ever screamed out loud, dude. You're going to scream like... You're going to scream pretty loud, because it's pretty exciting. Because you've had so many different failures, with school. How much you've struggled with school. Even in this program, you almost got kicked out twice. You passed your boards, which is really cool. And you start working, and 2 different hospitals. Things are going good, but something still wants a little bit more. And unfortunately, as a PTA, you can't go into management in a hospital. There's no laws and all that stuff. So okay, I get it. So you can't go into management in a hospital. But no, that's okay. So talking to your bosses and they're like, hey, do this MBA program. I'm like, okay, cool. I can try that, it's like a way to get into management. Since I can't go into med school, this is a way of going to management, I guess. This is close enough, I guess. I don't know. So you start doing it. Three math classes. Statistics, finance, and another finance class. And you struggle. Bad. Bad. PTSD starts again. The depression starts again. But you don't tell anybody because you don't want to burden other people. You just keep it locked in. You just keep pushing as hard as you can. Maybe with teachers, you have that like individualized study plan. You're taking your test like 2 a.m. in the morning, just so other people don't have to be around whenever you fail. And so you can study as long as you possibly can. But you know what? You pass. You pass. But you know what's also interesting? Because remember, you're still trying to work out, you're still doing the gym. While we're actually working in the hospital, now as a CNA, some of the working moms are like, hey, we're going to do a 5K, we're going to do a color run. I'm like, I'm asthmatic. I can't run. They're like, try it, be a fun run. So you're like, okay, I'll try it. You start talking to one of the dietitians, Janice. Janice is pretty cool. Like, hey, Janice, I'm gonna do a 5K. She's like, okay, cool. You can do a marathon one day. I'm like, Janice, I'm asthmatic. No, that's not gonna happen. She's like, okay. You do your color one. You struggle. Your lungs hurt. Your legs hurt. You like, I enjoy sports, but I can't run. This sucks. I don't know why I did it. This is not cool. But you do it. And then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna try to do another one. I'm gonna try to do another 5K. See what happens. And you do another 5K. Okay. You did a little bit better this time. And you do another 5K. Okay, I did better. And you're like, you know what? What's the next distance? Because you're stubborn, dude. You're really stubborn. You're stubborn. And you see, the UCF has what's called a storm the campus 10 miler. You're like, I can't run 10 miles. But try. And you do your first 10-mile run. And you actually complete a 10-miler. It's like, wow, that was pretty cool. You're looking at different races and everything like that. And then you see something called the Savage Race. You're like, I don't know what this is. Let me look into it. And they have different lengths. You can it's longer or shorter. And they have different obstacles you can do. And say, I can try that. I'm gonna try that. So you do that. And the first thing they have you do is jump into an ice pit. You have to go under a board that's submerged in the water. And the first thing you think of is, why did I do this thing? This is the very first thing. There's 7 miles left. And 20 obstacles. You're like, why did I do this? But you're like, this was fun. The people were cool. You meet some random dudes they start running with. They pretty much adopted you. Pretty much like, hey, come run with us. They start pushing you. It gets really fun. It's a fun race. You do good. You complete it. And that's what matters. So you're doing all these races and things like that. You do 5Ks, 10 milers. You do 2 Savage races, a Spartan race, which is like a Savage race. And you do 2 half marathons. How does that sound? All this time, you're still training martial arts too. Because we stopped training martial arts whenever we moved to St. Augustine for OT school. Then you do pretty good. You do pretty good. And you miss it. You miss everybody. You miss your students. You miss your teachers. You miss people. But you're still training. You're still lifting every now and then. You're still trying to run. And then one of the RTs, Chris, You know, he had a big surgery. He lost a lot of weight. He said, you know what? I want to do a marathon. He said he wants to do a marathon. I was like, hey, if you do a marathon, I'll do a marathon. I was like, he's not going to do a marathon. And then he signs up. He signs up for the marathon. And he's like, well, I can't let him down. So you sign up for a marathon, dude. You start training. And your work schedule allows you, training is not the best, but it's doable. You're working, you have like Wednesday and Thursdays off. And you're training. And you're training. And you're running. And there's this loop that we find at the house. That's about 4.25 miles, dude. That's more than 5K. And the first time you do it, you just do one lap. And you're like, okay, I'm done. And you do that one lap. Unfortunately, we're only able to run once a week, which is tough. But you do that one lap like a month. And you add a second lap to like 8.5 miles. Same thing, about a month. A third lap. A fourth lap. A fifth lap. Now, you still stop at the house because you're not running, because it's up and down hills and all this stuff, but you start running at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a long day. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, get your shoes on, and just start running. It's a long day. But you do it. You actually do a marathon. You complete it in 6.5 hours. Now, there are people who go faster than you. There are people who go slower than you. But the fact is, you ran a marathon. 26.2 miles, dude. That's something. That's a long distance. That's far. 26.2 miles. That's something. Like, you know what? I'm done. So, do your marathon. You're working. And then time passes. You're doing your master's degree. You finish it by the grace of God, because there's no one else who can help you out with that one, because we've always struggled with no particular math. But somehow, by God's grace, He's like, Michael's gonna pass this. And you pass it. And then there's something still in you that's like, you know what? What's next? Can I go further? It starts bugging you. But you're scared. You're scared. You don't want to do it. You're scared. You don't know what to do. But you still want to feel important. And also, Chrissy graduates, and you see all the doctors, all people with the doctorates graduating. And you're like, I like that hat. I want one of those hats. And it was Stacey or someone was like, you can't get one of those hats without having a doctorate degree. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a doctorate degree because I like the hat. And the title's cool, but I want the hat. It's a dope hat. I want the hat. I want the hat. Time passes. You're working really hard. You pay off all your debt from your car, from your student loans. You're debt free, dude. Time keeps going. But you're still mad that you didn't get into med school. And then Jerome, he actually gets into med school. And you're really proud of him because you've grown up with him. You know, literally from the cradle. You know, you've grown up with Jerome. And watching him reach his dreams, you're really, really proud of him. And he graduates from med school, which is, you're like, wow, that's really cool. But you have some envy. You have some jealousy. You have some depression. He comes back. It sucks. It's not as bad as it was before. I'll tell you that. But it still sucks, dude. And you're like, you know what? Why not? Why not? Why not try? Shortly after Jerome graduates, just going on the internet, he sees this video. This dude screaming at the top of his lungs, "I'm proud of you, black man. I'm proud of you, black man." And it hits. It's really hard. Because with all of the failures that you had some pretty good successes. But you should never tell yourself that you're proud of yourself. And it's pretty hard. There's some tears shed. But the reason why he said it is that he was like a janitor at his med school. And GED, everything. Working. And he gets admitted to the med school. And he graduates from med school. And he's accepted into 3 different residencies. Just like, wow. That's pretty cool. So a combination of those 2 things, watching this guy, watching Jerome, you're like, you know what? I have to try. But you're scared. You don't tell anybody you're scared. And you have a good poker face. But you're scared. I know you. I'm you. But you start asking questions. And you get accepted into a doctoral program. You're like, me? This Michael Hill? Okay. And get your program. But you're like, how am I going to do this? School is expensive. Life is expensive. You're still working your main job. But you're like, you're not comfortable. So this is something you thought about previously. Whenever you're paying off your debt, you're like, I gotta keep doing it. You start donating plasma, which sounds scary. Which sounds very scary. But you're like, I gotta do what I gotta do. And you donate plasma while working a full-time job. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. Twice a week. Every week. For about 1.5 years. Rain, sleet, snow, holidays, family get-togethers. You would literally, because you had Fridays and Sundays off this time. You would you would go to the gym, then you leave, go straight donate plasma, and then you go get groceries. That was your Friday routine. Sunday routine. Go to the gym, drink a protein shake, donate plasma. Come home, do what you had to do. Good. Every day, twice a week, about 1.5 years. And actually, dude, you still have the scars on both arms to show it. Yo, go some of your battle scars, dude. Just 2 of them. I don't get many battle scars. Then you get back into the hospital. You start working in the hospital again. PRN. So you're still working your main job. You're in a hospital, PRN. You're trying to figure out how am I going to do this? Because you have to work 4 days a month in the hospital. That doesn't sound a lot. But you're still working full time. And the way you find out your schedule and have to do everything, you're working 12 days in a row. You have 2 days off. Work 12 days in a row, 2 days off. 12 days in a row, 2 days off. You're in the hospital, 10-hour shifts, but with lunch, 10.5 hours. Working, you move up to a manager this time, at the main job. And usually, it can vary, depends on what's going on. It's usually, traditional, like, 8:30 to 5:30-ish. Sometimes it's 6. Sometimes you're just until 6:30. But still trying to go to the gym. Still gotta study. Still got a lot of things on your plate. But you're stubborn, dude. You're really stubborn, because no matter what, you don't quit. And things are going good. And then one day, you're at the gym. You're working legs. And then one of your friends sends you a message on Instagram. You say, "Hey Mike, how have your 30s been?" And you stop. And you get really, really mad. Because the first thing that you see on your 30th birthday is someone who looks like you being taken off this earth. And they're pleading with authorities, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." There's someone's knee on this man's neck. "I can't breathe." And he passes away. The first thing you see on your 30th birthday. So I was like, "How my 30s been?" And you tell him that. But how do you think my 30s have been? And in the middle of the gym, you start crying. You would just start crying in the middle of the gym, dude. To a point that you have to verbally say, "Stop." There's a song that you listen to. There's a song you start listening to that it literally describes what you're going through. Not quite to the T, but it hits deep. So probably you had to stop the song. And then tell yourself, "Stop crying." Because you're in the middle of the gym crying. Because the sadness, the depression starts again. It starts to get dark. But you're like, "You know what? You're stubborn, dude." And you learn how to fight those negative thoughts. So you know what? I'm gonna use this anger, this depression, this grief, and I'm going to push as hard as I can for this next set. These next exercises. You hit some crazy numbers because you learn how to channel your depression. It's kind of scary, to be honest. But things start going good. You're in a dope apartment, doing good in school, doing good at work, things are going good. You get to travel with work. The crazy thing is that right now, when I'm recording this video, next week you'll be in a different state because you get to travel with work. How does that sound? You get to go to someplace different to work. Look how good you're doing because the opportunity appeared and you took it. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, dude. So You're doing good with school. Until like the fourth to last semester hits. Like third or fourth semester. Third to fourth last semester. And you have statistics. Again. And all those thoughts start rushing back. And you get scared again. You're like, I'm this close to the finish line. I'm doing something that I gave up without doing. In this one class. It's gonna stop me from achieving my dreams. Again. But God put an angel in your corner. And you passed that. I appreciate you, Sergey. I appreciate you. And there's something that you tell yourself in the very beginning of this program that you're like, you have 3 goals. First goal is to pass. So you've had a lot of failures. You had to withdraw from school. Second, to graduate with as high of a GPA as you possibly can. Third, if there's honor, you want to get into an honor society, but you've never been in an honor society, you're like, that'll be a pretty cool goal. And you work. And you work. And you work. And you're staying up super late. You're working on a project. Your normal bedtime for this project, an early bedtime for your project, is 3 o'clock in the morning. Your typical bedtime. There are times you're like, I can go to bed around 1 o'clock. That was early. Working on this one particular project, there is one time you remember distinctly. You're up until 6 a.m. Actually, a little past 6 a.m. working on this project. And you tell yourself, I can either take a little nap, because you still gotta work. I can take a little nap and wake up and be at my desk at 8 o'clock. I can just stay up. Take a little nap. Get back to your desk. Do what you gotta do. But you know what's so cool about that? That same project that you're up so late with, your teacher asks you. They ask you, can we use your project as an example for the next semester? How's that? You're struggling. You're scared. You're up until 6 a.m. doing homework. You're getting hardly any sleep. If you get 5 hours of sleep a night, like on a night, that's a really good night. You're usually getting 3 hours of sleep, dude. You're not getting any sleep at all. And you're tired. It's weird. You get so mentally tired that you forget that you're physically tired. You don't even know how you're still pushing. All thing you say is, hey, God got me. The thing is, like, again, which throws people off, is like, you don't even drink coffee. You take pre-workout when you go to the gym every now and then, but you don't drink coffee. So it's literally, you know how you do it. But you're pushing. And you're pushing. And the last semester of school comes. And you do your presentation. And you pass. You finish your doctorate, bro. You finish your doctorate degree. Which is awesome. You're happy. You're ecstatic about it. But you get sad again. Because even though you finish your doctorate, you get sad because you're not a medical doctor. And it happens. And you start to get a little depressed. And you start to doubt yourself. You start to doubt yourself. Was it worth it? Am I important? Because, yeah, I finished a part of the goal, but I didn't finish the goal. You start to hit again. Every now and then just pop up. But one thing is interesting though, is remember when your friend asked you how your 30s have been and you heard that song and got you in a really dark place? Whenever you go to the gym, you want to hit some heavy weight, you start listening to that song to get into that dark place because you learn how to channel yourself. But one day you're going to the gym, you're like, I want to hit some heavy weight. You listen to the song, then you listen to it, you're like, wait, I'm not angry. I'm not mad or sad or depressed. Huh. Interesting. And that is the subtle hint that you know that you're doing better. Things perfect? Things aren't perfect. But you're doing better. But you're still mad that you're not a medical doctor. But you have to you remind yourself, because you like learning. That's one thing that Miss Smith in 5th grade she taught you. She said, I know you don't like school, but I want you to enjoy learning. And I enjoy learning. That's something that Mom laughs at too. She's like, but someone who doesn't like school, you're in school a lot. I'm like, leave me alone, Mama. That's kind of funny, but she's like, for someone who doesn't like school, you're in school a lot. But I started doing some research. And I said, what percent of the population, just some very, very basic general research, like, what percent of the population in America holds a doctorate degree? You find out 2 to 3% of the whole country holds a doctorate degree. And you do a little more research, a little more digging, and you said, I'm going to paraphrase it. What percent of those doctorate degrees look like you? What percent of doctoral degree holders are black men? 10%. 10% of the 2% of the whole country look like you and have done a version of what you've done. That puts you in a rare category, my guy. That's pretty rare. That's pretty cool. And you hold on to that, and it's like, you know what? Even though I'm not where I wanted to be, God has a way of directing your life in ways that you know of or don't know of. And he gets very subtle with it too. And things that's like just kind of lines just like, huh. Because what's funny is you were doubting yourself while you're doing this degree. A lot. And then one of your friends from the hospital, they said, hey, I have this job I want you to look at. And like, okay, cool. They send you the job description, and your jaw drops. It's the position you're looking for, the salary that you're looking for. It's looking for the degree that you're going for with experience in the field that you're currently working on. And there's another thing. It had 5 things that you were doubting yourself about. And the only reason why you didn't apply for it, because you're new to you've been in management for less than a year. You're like, I don't think I can do it. I don't have the experience, this and this. But then you say, you know what? This position is here in the morning. I'll do it. Because you're sitting on a position for like a week. Like, this position is here in the morning, then I'll apply for it. And it wasn't there. But use that as a sign to say, someone is looking for you. All of you. Which gives you a little hope. And it's like, huh. But again, there are people in your corner that are looking out for you. That are praying for you. And you start doing an internship. And it's like, hey, you want to be a director and things like that. But then, Tony Stark, he gets promoted to associate CEO of the hospital. And you start talking to him and shadowing him. And it allows you to think a little bigger. It's like, could I get there? Can I get there? You start to allow yourself to dream again. Which is scary. It's very scary. Because that's one thing that's weird, because you don't allow yourself to dream. You don't allow yourself to think big. You only like to think of what is in your bubble of control. Because whenever you thought and dreamed big, you failed. Which sucked. And you don't want to go dark again. You don't want to feel like you don't want to be awake anymore. You don't want to go that dark, because it's scary when you go dark. And you know how long you're going to be in that dark place. So you stop allowing yourself to dream. But if you're starting to shadow John, it allows you to start dreaming again, which is pretty interesting. And because you were dreaming, you finished your doctorate degree, bro. You finished your doctorate degree. Granted, there's some issues trying to get your stuff, because there was a whole thing. It was oh my gosh, it was a thing. But you let yourself to dream again, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I say that to say, life is interesting. You're young right now. You're 6, 7. You're looking forward to being 10. And your granddad just died. And you're trying to understand things. I'm here to say that life is interesting. Life is scary. Life is exciting. Life will get you to dark places in your mind that you don't want to go. But you don't have to stay there. I have some things to show you. So, remember when I said, hey, have you joined martial arts? Not one. Not 2. 3. That's pretty cool, dude. Remember when I said that you're an asthmatic and you're able to run a marathon? You got your ears, dude. Remember when I said, you get into your master's degree program and you struggled bad? But most importantly, remember when you said you want that fancy hat? You doubted yourself that you ever get a fancy hat because of all the stress, all the failures, all the depression, the self-doubt, those dark places that you're in mentally and emotionally. You got your fancy hat. You got your fancy hat, bro. I say that to say, don't let the dark times keep you down. There's a saying, this too shall pass. And they pass. They leave a little essence. They leave a little essence. But they pass. You can get through it. You're gonna be scared. You're gonna be wondering why. But you can get through it, dude. You can get through it. Nothing to show you that I forgot to bring out. So remember, you said you had that big project that your teacher wanted to use as an example. You had to do a practicum project. Watch this. Michael Christopher Hill, DHSC, MBA. You've done some pretty cool things in your life. There are other things that you're working on. Other things that may happen soon. Who knows? But we did some pretty cool things, you know, in the 29 years between then and now. You did some pretty cool things, I'll definitely say. It took you 29 years to get your fancy hat, but you got it. You couldn't run at all, but you did a marathon, bro. You can't pass math to save your life, but you got an MBA. You do some pretty cool things in your life. I definitely say that. Still working on the facial hair because you see it's still we're getting there, dude. We're getting there, but you did some pretty cool things in your life. I can definitely say that. But you know what? I hope all these things that I've shown you, the things are cool. However, you don't need the things to know that you're important. You're important. You matter. It gets dark, but just remember, you're important and you matter. Whether you have the ears or not, you matter. Whether they use your information, you matter. Whether if you have 3 black belts, you still matter. Whether you have your fancy hat or not, or you're probably really tired because of all the schoolwork, you matter, dude. And I hope that me showing you this stuff and you know how far you fought, I hope that I'm the person that you can be proud of. To say that I want to be like that person.
Because, to be honest, that's one of the reasons I never stopped. Because I wanted to be the person that you could look up to. That was one of my main goals. And one thing that's pretty cool is that you start telling yourself that you're proud of yourself more often, which is pretty cool. And you keep pushing hard because you want to set that example for your cousins. But again, you matter. You're important. And I hope that I'm the person that you can look up to. And I hope that you're proud of me. Alright, Mike. We'll chat later.